go. There's that. And let's just talk about the blues. You know, I've got this nice Kansas City in 5 different keys to kind of illustrate the blues progression in each of 5 keys. But I don't want to put that up yet because it's kind of confusing and you would stare at that instead of staring at me. And so I just want to talk about the 12-bar blues. There are 8-bar blues forms and 16-bar blues forms and jazz blues forms. And but the 12-bar blues is the foundation of all of them. It's very easy to understand. It's very easy to understand the format, very arithmetic. And so it makes for a fun and enjoyable way to approach the blues. So 12 bars, why not 12 measures? Well, because the people who put these things together thought 12-bar blues sounded catchier than 12-measure blues. Actually, if you look at measures, measures are divided by horizontal black lines that are bars. And so if you look at the 12-measure blues, you actually have 12 bars. And the 12-bar blues is formed by your bass chord. Let's say it's in the key of A. So you start with your bass chord, which would be an A, and you would do 4 measures of A, or 4 bars of A. And then you go to your number 4 chord, which in the key of A means A, B, C, D. You go to your number 4 chord, the D, and you would have 2 measures of D. So far we've got 6 measures. Then you go back to the A for 2 measures. So back to the 1. From the 4 to the 1 to the 4 to the 1. So now we've got 8 measures. Then you go to the 5, A, B, C, D, E, for 1 measure. That's 9 measures. You go back, you're retracing back to the D for a measure. That's 10. Back to the A, your 1 chord or your home chord, for 11. And then for some reason, we fill it out again with the 5 for the 12th measure. So if you did that in the key of A, that would be 4 beats of A, 4 more. That's 2 measures, 4 more. 4 more. That's your 4 measures of A. Then D. And there's no reason. That was my 2 measures of D and back to A. So that's 1, 4, 1. Then 1 measure of E7. That's the 5. 1 measure of D. That's the 4. 1 measure of A. And all of these blues forms, you could just do 4 beats of E7. But for some reason, because it's the blues and you want it to sound cool, almost everybody finishes off on that 12th measure with just 2 beats and then lets it sit for 2 beats of resting. And that's your 12th measure. So that's it. That's the 12-bar blues. 12 measures, 4, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. 12 measures. And it's the 1, the 4, and the 5. The A is the 1 because we're in the key of A. The 4 is D, A, B, C, D. The 5 is E, and that's how it works. And we'll see that over and over and over again when I bring up the music. But first, who has questions?
So is the 5 usually with the 7th?
Let's check and see. That's an excellent question. In almost every song that we play, it absolutely is. The question is, does it need to be that way? Does it need to be that way? Let's share some music. And of course, you know my answer is going to be, you're in the privacy of your own home. You can play anything there that you would want to. Let's do this for me. For the folks back at home, we're saying, oh man, I really want to see a big close-up of Bob. Well, there we go. Okay. Okay, so there's my key of A right at the top, Kansas City, 5 keys. A, there's my D, that's my 4, and there's the E7 or the 5 or the E. So what is all this stuff, this A7, DD7, AA7D? Well, the point of the matter is you can substitute the major 7. You don't have to play the major chord. So if we do A, 4 beats, you can play along. And then go to A7. That sounds actually pretty cool. Then we go to D. And then to D7, you can do your 2-0-2-0, which sounds pretty cool, or you can do a barred D7. And then back to A, you could do A7, A. Now what happens when you sing that and you start jumping around? Let's see what happens. I'm going to Kansas City. Kansas City, here I come, staying on A. Going to D, going to Kansas City, staying on D. Kansas City, going back to A, here I come. They got some crazy little women, they're D, I'm gonna get me one. Rest, rest. Now, what if I mix in the A7s on the vocals? I'm going to A, Kansas City, A7, here I come. I'm going to D7, D6, Kansas City, A7, here I come. They got some crazy little women there, and I'm gonna get me one. I did D and D7. I did 2 beats of D and 2 of D7. Get me one. So here it actually, the A7 comes in it nice and smooth, and substituting that in the middle of your run of A's actually sounds pretty good. What if we drop the E7 and we play E? Well, as ukulele players, most of us would much rather play an E7 than an E. So that's not why it's E7. It just seems to fit with the blues, that you have these dominant 7 chords. And you could, but just to answer Annie's question. So let's see, they got some crazy there's my E. Crazy little women there, and I'm gonna get me one. Go to the E. It sounds fine. I like E7 better. Maybe because it sounds cooler, twangier. And we'll try it with the other forms as well. But you could do major 7s all the way through. Going to A7, Kansas City, here I come. There, I think it sounds better starting off with the major A without the A7. D7, going to Kansas City, here I come. They got some crazy little women there, and I'm gonna get me one. Now, the great thing about the 12-bar blues in this 1-4-5 progression is it makes it incredibly easy to transpose. So you're sitting there and you're trying to sing along, and you cannot even remotely hit the key of A. And you know you love the key of C. Kansas City, Kansas City, here I come. And maybe you can hit that. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to Kansas City, Kansas City, here I come. I'm going to Kansas, C, D, E, F. The 1 is the C, because it's in the key of C. The 4 is the F. Kansas City, here I come. So what would the 5 be? That would be the G. They got some crazy little women there. And I'm gonna. I just started with the F on the very first downbeat. I'm gonna. And I added the 7 on that second downbeat, just because you can. I'm gonna get me one. And there I did 2 beats of C. And I did 2 beats of C7. I don't know if you could hear the transition or not. So again, you could play the whole thing through with just the major chords going to C City, playing C, here I come, playing C. Yes, I'm playing C, I'm going to F City, playing my F, here I see. Gonna play G, they got some crazy little women there. I'm gonna get me one. So that here is again the answer to Annie's question. You could play G there. It sounds pretty darn good to me, I think. So vocally, and I mean musically, you might like the twang of the 7. Vocally, you might mesh better with the crazy little women with the G. Crazy little women there, and I'm gonna get me one. If I do the 7, the G7, crazy little women there, F7, I'm gonna get me one. So the 7 takes my tone down just a little bit on each of those spots where I try to match my voice to the chord. 1. Shall we try D? D, E, F, G as the 4, E, F, D, E, F, G, A as the 5. So that's why you got running around in here all these D's and D7s and G's and G7s, giving you that option. And then A7, I haven't given you any option there whatsoever. Just telling you to play A7, but we'll play with A. Let's go through with the major chords first. With D, I'm going to Kansas City, Kansas City, here I come. I'm going to G, Kansas City, Kansas City, here I come. A, they got some crazy little women there. G, I'm gonna get me one. That sounds perfectly good to me. What happens when we mix in those 7s? I'm gonna go D, D, and then D7, D7. And then I'm gonna go G, G7, and then I'll just play whatever you want. 1, 2, going to Kansas City, Kansas City, here I come. I'm going to Kansas City, Kansas City, here I come. They got some crazy little women there, and I'm gonna get me one. And there I did 2 beats of A, 2 beats of A7, 2 beats of G, 2 beats of G7, 2 beats of D, 2 beats of D7. That one worked out the worst. That was one of my worser ideas. And then A7. But the solid chords without adding the 7, they sounded perfectly good to me. D may not be anybody's jam on that one. Now, okay, music trivia fans, I do not have an answer to this because it gets into theory that is beyond my ski tips. But you got the key of F, right? F, G, A, B. So that should be B and B7. Why does that say G minor 7? That's wacky. So if it was B or B7 as the 4, then the 5 would be C or C7. So that makes sense, the C7. This G minor 7 thing, well, in music, the relationship between F and the 4 is actually B flat. That's its simpatico partner between the 1 and the 4. So it's actually B flat. And as you all know, because you've been with me forever, I like G minor 7 just as much as I like B flat. And so it would be F, B flat, C7. And so that would be an F, a B, and a C. And so that all works out. So don't ask me any questions about that. Let's just play it. I'm going to Kansas City. Kansas City, here I come. A 7, particularly when you switch on that 4th measure, sounds really good. You do F, 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 and then add a finger. Going to Kansas City, Kansas City, here I come. They got some crazy little women there, and I'm gonna get me one. What would happen if we actually tried to play B there? We know B flat would work. I'm going to Kansas City, Kansas City, here I come. I'm going to Kansas City. Now that takes you up into a whole nother key. That's the problem with playing a B when you're supposed to play B flat. So don't do that. Don't do that. So that's 4 different versions of Kansas City. 12-bar blues, the 1-4-5 progression 4. Number 5. Let's do G. So G, G, A, B, C. Oh, G, C. And so what would the 5 be? D. So that's why we see G, C. And I'm showing 2 different versions of D7 because some of us are not so excited about the barred D7. Although in one of the next songs I'll try to make my case for this is your year to bar your D7s if you haven't been. But there's the G. I'm going to Kansas City, Kansas City, here I come. G7. I'm going to Kansas City, Kansas City, here I come. I'm just playing regular G. They got some crazy little women there. What happens if you do the Island D7 2020? They got some crazy little women. Your vocals just change just a tiny bit. Crazy little women there. I'm gonna get me one. So instead of the D7, I played the D there. Again, in answer to Annie's question. Does it have to be a 7? I think we've proved it does not have to be a 7. You play that any way you want to, but I think you don't want to mess with the progression, you don't want to mess with the timing. But the chords you can futz around with, whether it's the major chord or the major 7. Now, who has questions? Scientifically proven. So that is the 12-bar blues. And like I said, there's 8-bar blues. We're going to see 16-bar blues here in a second. Jazz blues, minor blues. But this is the form because of the arithmetic of it and the 1-4-5 nature of it that's really easy to understand. You walk up and somebody says, we're going to play the 12-bar blues in C, and with just a little bit of thought and a little bit of study, you can go, and don't let anybody see you do this with your hand, but you can go C, D, E, F, G. Oh, C, F, and G. Okay, got it. That's the one with the C. The F. Back to the C. I remember now, because we talked about this with Bob. The G7, the F, and the C. Oh, and then the G7 twice. And it's just that easy. So just a little bit of study, and you can work it all out on the fly, and you can drop into any blues club and just say, hey, you got an extra ukulele? I'd like to sit in with the band. Maybe you won't do that. Okay, now, 12-bar blues boogie woogie. Let's take a look at this. So, I could explain this to you, and then I could eliminate all of these extra little, we're not looking at that, it's just as well. Would have freaked us out. There it is. So really this is C, F, and G7, right? So when you look at all of this extra hoo-ha, the C/A minor, the F/D minor shuffle, I don't even think it says G7 shuffle. You can just play the first chord in that C/ and forget the A minor, and then the first chord in the F/D minor, and then the G7, and you've got your 12-bar blues, your 1-4-5 progression. What the A minor and the D minor are is really, well, let's talk about that. Let me see, what do I want to do? I think I want to show you, I want to illustrate via the OUJ Action Cam. Oh my goodness, there it is. We've heard about it, we've read about it, and here it is live, the OUJ Action Cam. So you've got your C, right? And you got your 4 beats, right? So the shuffle is adding a tone to your 2nd and your 4th beat. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. What if you added an A note on your 2nd and your 4th beat? Get my middle finger out of there. So that's C plus an A, off and an A, off and an A, C and an A. So that's why I have C/A minor, because you're kind of adding the place where you would play your A minor up there on the 2nd fret, 4th string. You're really adding an A note, and I could change that, but I've been trying to explain this to folks for many years, and it seems like that was a concept that people would understand. So it should say C/A, and then when we get to F and D minor, you've got your F and you're adding a D note, so it could say F/D, but I think people understand the D minor form, so they realize that when they put a finger down, they are actually forming a D minor. And the easiest way to learn the blues in this form, where it's so nice and arithmetic, 1, 2, 3, 4, is just with simple down strums. And if your strum comes up and hits some strings on the way up, well, goody for you. It's all good. So all these little dots, so the C/A minor shuffle, that whole name, that is your first downbeat. Then the dot right next to it is your second downbeat. The apostrophe is your third downbeat. The dot is the fourth downbeat. So every one of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, is down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, or down, 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 down. So you see, as you read across, that's 16 beats, or 4 measures of 4 beats each. As we were talking, the form is 4 measures of the bass note, and then 2 measures, or 8 marks, F/D minors, shuffle being the first mark, then the dot is your second downbeat, apostrophe third, dot fourth, apostrophe fifth, dot sixth, apostrophe seventh, dot eighth. So there's your 8 beats, or 2 measures of F. So if you're going to do on your second and your fourth beat, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. What is that? 1 measure, 2 measures, 3 measures. There's your 4 measures to F. And I'm just adding my ring finger, or forming a D minor on the second and the fourth beats. So I'm going F, D minor, F, D minor. And I think that was 8 beats, so now I'm back to C. That's another 8 beats, so I must be on to the G7. Back to the F. Back to the C. Something like that. We did that really slow, but I'll bet somebody's got questions.
You're right. So I can't tell if you're strummed down and up on C, and then strum up and down on E minor.
So watch my hand here. Your first beat is a C. Your second beat, you put your finger down where you would play your A minor. Third beat is a C. Fourth beat is an A minor. So if you are hitting the up, then you are doing down up on each of those. Down up on C, down up on C A minor or C A, down up on C, down up C A minor. On F, so I think the answer to your question is yes, but it's much more important that downbeat. Doesn't matter what's happening on your upbeat. It's much more important that if you want the shuffle, and I'm trying to illustrate that you can just play it as C, F, and G7 and forget the shuffle. But if you like that movement, that boogie-woogie movement, that's how you get it. You put your finger down on the second pull it off on the third, put it back down on the fourth. Doesn't need to go away very far. You know I like the idea of 1/1,000,000th of an inch above the string. So when I give my ring finger off, it's just coming up just a tiny little bit. It doesn't do a flyaway. None of that craziness, just a little bit. Okay, hopefully that answered your question, Annie. Who else has questions? Okay, now on the G7, we're only there for 4 beats. You can make it more fun by doing your first downbeat on the G7. Second downbeat, put your pinky out there or spread your ring finger out. Bring it back in for the third. Take it off for the fourth. That gives you a lot of movement on the G7. Oops. And then on the F, now there's one other element that I'll share, but I will strongly, highly, mostly, a bunch recommend that you just work on that one element, adding the one finger. Even if you just work on the C, play the F normal. And don't worry about that. G7. There is one other element I will share, not to make your heads explode. But you can get a boogie woogie plus is on the third beat. So the first was the C is open. Second beat, your index finger's down on the top on that first fourth string, second fret. What if you then put a finger down on the third beat on the top string on the third fret and then came back? So what you would be doing on the top string, essentially, while holding the C is open, open, 2, 3, 2, and on it with a strum, it sounds like this. You can make it look like the great Wallenda where you're jumping around and your index finger comes up while your middle finger goes down, and then your index finger goes back down again. There's no reason to do that. Keep your index finger down because you're going to hit it again on the fourth. And then the same thing with your F and D minor. You can push it out and bring it back in, or you put your pinky up there for your pinky practice. Now we're getting fancy. Remember, this is being recorded for posterity. Where's my finger for posterity? Posterity's over there, and I'm over here somewhere. Anyway, it's being recorded, so you can play it, replay it. And there are 1,000,001 people who are better than me who do this stuff on the World Wide Web. But that is the essence of the blues shuffle. Let's play this just for fun. Let's see. When we get to this C stop, that's just a single hit on C. You're still doing 4 measures of C. Well, 1 and 1 is 2. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. 6 and 2 is 2, 3, 4. Come on, baby, 2, 3, 4. Don't you make me 2, 3. So it's still 16 beats of C. It's just trying to change the rhythm a little bit in the style of the song for a different segment, but you're still right in the same C, F, and G7. So there's that. Let's just do this. 1, 2. Let's just, yeah. We'll do it without the extra shuffle. We'll do it with the bass, just adding the 2 and the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. G7 twice. I said, come on. Oh, baby, don't you wanna go? I said, come on. Oh, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to that same old place, sweet home, Chicago. I said, come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Heidi, hey, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to that same old place, sweet home, Chicago. Well, 1 and 1 is 2, 6 and 2 is 8. Come on, baby, don't you make me late. Heidi, hey, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to that same old place, sweet home, Chicago. This is where the guy with the whiskey bottle comes out. Going to F. Back to C. G7, F. Well, 6 and 3 is 9, 9 and 9, 18. Look the bread and see what I've seen. Heidi, hey, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to that same old place, sweet home, Chicago. I said, come on. Oh, baby, don't you wanna go? Come on. Oh, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to that same old place, sweet home, Chicago. Take me home. When they say take me home to the bass note, the number 1. Let's finish it off. Let's hit a C. That's what it means. The Sweet Home Chicago, one of the all-time greats. What the heck? Anybody have questions? I knew I was supposed to do something. I can't remember what. Wait a second. G, C, and D7. That can't be right. G, A, B, C. Oh my goodness, it might be right. And the 5, where's the 5? It's one of these. It's got to be on here somewhere. It's either the pinky or the thumb. That is the D7. What was I going to do? I forget. I was going to make the video come back there. You don't need that close-up from the overhead cam anymore. So, you can see in the intro, we've got the 4 measures of G. We've got the 2 measures of C, in this case C7, 2 measures of G, 2 measures of D7, and 2 measures of G4, 12, count them, 12 measures. There's no double hit on that last measure like we were doing in Sweet Home Chicago and Kansas City. And you'll notice as soon as we get into the song, we've got 8 measures of G because you do these first 4 measures. I know a cat named Way Out Willie, do 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 do's got a cool little chick named Rockin' Millie. So you're borrowing this G for this second line, cool little chick named Rockin' Millie. So that's 8 measures right there. Then C7 is 4, that's 12. And come back to G for another 4. So this is 16 bar blues. So just another form. But once again, the 1, 4, 5 combo. And this, to give yourself a nice blues, the guy with the whiskey bottle on his pinky, where he's going, to give yourself kind of that feel, you could do some sliding. Take that G form and take it up to the 1st fret and bring it right back into place. Take that D, C7, which is really G minor 7 on the 3rd is your second position for C7. What is that? Open 4, 3, 3. So you could do that on the 2nd fret and slide it into the 3rd fret. This is not, we're just going to play it plain. So I'm just saying, you could do that to give yourself that kind of feel. And, you could do D instead of D7, because we just proved that in our other Kansas City 5 measures. We proved that incontrovertibly that you can play the major chord instead of the 7. But if you do bar your D7, you can take that D7 up to the 1st fret and slide that into place in the 2nd fret. Just some things to think about. We'll just play a little blues song here. 1, 2, 3, 4, G. C7. That sounds like the blues. G. Going to D7. I know a cat named Way Out Willie. He's got a cool little chick named Rockin' Millie. He can walk and talk and Susie Q. Do that crazy Hand jive, hand jive. Gonna play a D here. Hand jive, sounded fine, doing that crazy hand jive. Mama, mama, look at Uncle Joe. He's doing that hand jive with Sister Flo. Mixing in the G7 did not work. Grandma gave baby sister a dime. Said do that hand jive one more time. Doctor and a lawyer, a rabbi and a priest. Now they all dig that crazy beat. Way out Willie gave them all a treat when he did that hand jive with his feet. Hand jive, hand jive, hand jive, doing that crazy hand jive. Now Willie and Millie got married last fall. They had a little Willie Jr. and that ain't all. Well, baby got famous in his crib, you see, doing that hand jive on TV. Hand jive, hand jive, hand jive, doing that crazy hand jive. Hand jive, hand jive, hand jive, doing that crazy hand jive. Hand jive, hand jive, hand jive, doing that crazy hand jive. We use that ending on a bunch of our songs. Do a G for 4 beats. And then your first beat, you hit that G again. Pull everything back to the first fret and slide it in. Ow! That's a hand jive. I did mix in some major C chords instead of C7 and some D chords instead of D7. And it seems like if you start in this particular song with this melody, if you start in the segment instead of switching at the 5th beat, if you go ahead and do all 8 beats, whatever you're going to do it for all 8 beats, that seemed to be better than switching around. My humble opinion. But it is kind of fun just trying it and saying, okay, that sounds good. Okay, that does not sound good. We're just hanging around. What time is it? We're doing good. We're doing good with the blues. Oh my goodness. Doing that hand jive. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Boom, 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 boom. Let's do the Deep River Blues just for fun. So I don't know what you call this. I think this is 8-bar blues. Let's take a look. So you got a measure of G. We'll call this a second measure of G. Third measure of G, so that's 3. Fourth measure, go to the C7. Fifth G, 6th D7, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 beats of G, so that's 7th, and then 4 more beats of G, so that's 8. So this is in the 8-bar blues form. If we look up here, we really have G twice. So that's G is your bass or home chord, or your key of G, A, B, C, G, A, B, C. Your 4 is your C, and then you've got your different forms of D7 as your 5. E flat 7 is a total embellishment. So let's just play this as G, C7, and D7. No matter what it says. If it's got a G in it, just play G. If it's got a C in it, just play C. And if it's got a D in it, just play D7. So let's go G, C7, G, D, and a G for 8 beats. Let it rain, let it pour, let it rain, whole lot more, 'cause I got them deep, stay on D, river blues. So that would be 8 beats of D. Let the rain drive right on, let the waves sweep along, 'cause I got them deep river blues. So that's really stripped down, basic, just using the 1, 4, 5. But of course, your great blues guitarists, musicians are going to try to embellish a little bit. And so we take that G, we pull off our ring finger, we slide the 2 fingers over to the 1st fret, and we put them all back together again. Now it looks so complicated when it's all laid out. G diminished 7. What the heck? Diminished chords are supposed to be really hard. On the 1st fret, it's just an E minor 7 pushed over onto the 1st fret. Push it back, and your G comes right back together again. So you do G for 4 beats, push it over, push it back, push your middle finger over. You know, you've got the same G form forming all of these chords, all with that middle finger on that A string. It just really makes it really simple. G diminished 7, back to G, over to C7. Now, if you're going to play your D7 as 2020, you've got your 2 fingers right there. You just need to move them up. G1 is it's trying to communicate. Play your G on the 1st fret. Really would be G flat. You already have the muscle memory of taking 2 fingers over to the 1st fret. I should have just kept that and just said G diminished 7 and come back. But for some reason, I was trying to teach people this G flat, G move. And so I decided that that was the better way to go. It's more complicated than it needs to be. Play whatever kind of G there you would like to. But what I'm trying to do there is G for 2 beats, over for 2 beats, back for 4 beats. Now see how that G diminished changes the melody and the vocal. Let it rain, let it. Fits better, way better with the diminished chord. Let it pour, let it rain, whole lot more, 'cause I got them deep river blues. Yes, absolutely. You could play 2 measures of D7 there. E flat 7 is taking that D7 and moving it over to the 3rd fret and bringing it back again. Just like taking your G, moving it up to the 1st fret and bringing it back again for movement, for interest. That's what that's trying to do. You can make that movement with your 2020. Not quite as dramatic. It's not really a movable shape like the barred D7 is, but just for fun, you can do it that way if that's how you play your D7. But the idea there is, let me see, so it's the first line, 'cause I, G, 1, 2, 3, 'cause I got them D, river, 1, 2, 3rd fret, and back again. So it's just a nice little movement, 2 beats, 2 beats, 4 beats. That's the idea there, but there's no reason why you can't play D7 for the full 8 beats, and it sounds perfectly great. But that's what that is there for. Second line, let the rain drive right on, let the waves sweep along, 'cause I got them deep river blues. Nice movement, very good. Who has questions? We'll go to the second verse and then we'll finish the whole thing out because it just keeps repeating. Who has questions? Diminish 7 this. Second verse, 1, 2, 3, 4. My old gal's good old pal. She looks just like a waterfowl when I get them deep river blues. Ain't no one to cry for me. The fishes have a grand old spree when I get them deep river blues. Go nuts. If my boat sinks with me, I'll go down, don't you see? 'Cause I got them deep river blues. I'm going back to Muscle Shoals. Times are better there, I'm told. 'Cause I got them deep river blues. If my boat sinks with me, I'll go down, don't you see? 'Cause I got them deep river blues. Now I'm gonna say goodbye, and if I sink, just let me die. 'Cause I got them deep river blues. Let it rain, let it pour, let it rain a whole lot more. 'Cause I got them deep river blues. has the blues, Deep River blues, Cajun blues, bluegrass blues, 8-bar blues. Now what the heck is this we've come to? We've come so far, and all of a sudden we have minor sevens to start. So there are minor blues. This really isn't that. This is Latin rock fusion from Santana. But they're known as a blues band, a blues rock band. So you would think this would be blues, but it's not really. So what's this? Oye como va, mi ritmo buenos pago va, ya. Oye como va, mi ritmo buenos pagos ya. It's just oye como va, except they throw in the B7. Other than that, but, he said but 6 times. If we take it, which I'm not, but we'll just, let's do it anyway. Suspend belief and imagination. E as the 1. E, F, G, oh my goodness, A as the 4. What then what? B is the 5. It is a 1, 4, 5 progression. It just never gets into that 4 measures, 2 measures, 2 measures, none of that stuff. So, but it is a 1, 4, 5 progression. And they are known as a blues band, and it is in our it's almost always in our live jam packets, and it certainly is in the blues songbook. And so we're going to call it the blues. We're going to call it a form of blues, even if it's not. So it's just down, 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 up, down, down, up. And then I like down, up, down, up, down. Where on that second 4 beats, you do down, up, down on the E minor 7, and then you slide over for the up, down to the A7. Down, up, down. If you like your down, up, down, then you would do down, down, and up, down on the A7. Just do 2 beats each all the way through. You got to change your evil ways, baby. So, and it's a really nice illustration of a 3-chord song that's got some nice punch and nice rhythm to it. We get down to this second, the shaded section. We're still doing E minor 7, A7 all the way through. Then we've got this B7. We hit it once, and then it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's supposed to be 7. It's corrected in our jam packets. I don't know why I copied the 5 bar, but you hit it once. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This can't go on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lord knows you got to change. So you can, again, you're in the privacy of your own home, hit it 5 times, wait for the mood to change, jump back in whenever you want. And that's the other thing about the rhythm of it. You don't need to strum it out, you do. Make up any kind of rhythm you want to. It would be nice if it turned into 2 beats and 2 beats, but still. What else? Yeah, there's a plucking pattern up there, but we don't need to do that. We're doing the blues today. We don't need to do that. 3, 2, pluck, 2, 3. How does that work, Bob? That's not bad. That's kind of nice. But that's okay. We don't need to do that. Who has questions, by the way? I was just curious about that. Well, we're almost out of time, so we ought to do a playthrough. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got to change your evil ways, baby, before I stop loving you. You got to change, baby, and every word that I say is true. You got me running, hiding all over town. You got me sneaking, peeping, running you down. This can't go on. Lord knows you got to change, baby. When I come home, baby, my house is dark and my pots are cold. You hang around, baby, with Gene and Joan and who knows who. I'm getting tired of waiting, fooling around. Find somebody who won't make me feel like a clown. This can't go on. Lord knows you got to change, baby. The instrumental looks a lot like everything else we've been doing. When I come home, baby, my house is dark and my pots are cold. You hang around, baby, with Gene and Joan and who knows who. I'm getting tired waiting, fooling around. I'll find somebody who won't make me feel like a clown. This can't go on. Lord knows you've got to. Are you there? 7th fret. Are you ready for the dramatic finish? Lord knows you've got to change. Ow. That's the blues. That is the blues. That was kind of fun. How's everybody doing out there? I'm gonna do something. I turned my original music off. That's what I did there. There's the view. Where's the gallery?